more returns. They're just investing in a NASDAQ or investing in gold or just a dumb index. In any other profession, they would not have a profession.
Did you make money?
Wait, I did that for a living, so. I'm a career finance guy. Been in the investment field for 20 plus years. Been running my AI startup for the past 2+ years. I want to start with a question. How many of you are professional investors? Show of hands. You do that for a job, okay. Very few, okay. And how many are equity investors?
What's an equity investment?
There are a lot of crypto guys. So I'm just wondering how many have invested in equity markets? Very few. Now, I'll ask you to take a guess. I did that for a living, and there are so many people who do that for a living. How many of those investors actually generate more returns? They're just investing in a NASDAQ or investing in gold or just a dumb index. Take a wild guess.
1%.
1% beat the market?
1.5.
1.5 beat the market? Okay.
15.
Pretty close, but 90% don't beat the market. In any other profession, they would not have a profession. This is the reality. And this is the hard truth that most of the investors do not beat the market. And there is an index that actually tracks this. It's so popular that they track it. It's called SPIVA. At the end of every year, they write a big report saying, hey, this year, so many investors did not beat the market, and last year was a record for US. 80% of the investors, even on a 1 year, did not beat the market. 90% don't beat the market if you invested your pension money with them. And that also explains the popularity of people moving away from them. So people are looking for alternative ways to invest.
So buy ETFs, and thank you for attending my TED Talk.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. The talk is a little more than that. Can you do better than ETFs? Or here, if you go look into the number of ETFs that they are available, if you look at the stocks in a market, the number of ETFs come pretty close to that. There are about 1,000 ETFs in the US market. Similar amount of ETFs in Hong Kong and India markets combined. So even if you want to buy ETFs, you will be stuck with the same problem. Which ETF do I buy? A thematic ETF, a market ETF, a contra ETF. There's so many options. Agents. The third option. Can you trust your money to an agent and see if you can beat the market with an agent? Now, I wanted to show a website where the agents are ranked by how they have performed over a 3 or a 6 month time frame. It's called Stock Bench. They've run an analysis of the top agents and the top LLMs. The one that came on top of everybody is a Chinese LLM called Kimi. They ran this for 3 months. It generated a return of 1.2%. During those 3 months, NASDAQ did 7.4%. So basically, even agents are far below what even an underperforming fund manager does these days. So agents can't beat the market, but I believe that if you have a system and use the code agents and the tools that we have, you'll get pretty close to narrowing the gap and probably even having a better control of your investments. Now, this is what I came to talk about, that there are a few things that you can do that doesn't cost money, a few processes that you can put in place, a few skills that you can use that will quickly give you an understanding of what's going, what's moving, how to ideate, what to research on. So I have a platform called FinSight where we do deliver outlier sort of reports. We believe that is where the ideation starts from. But the next stages, which are digging deeper into stocks, which is fundamental research, and even ideating and even doing trades, that has to be the responsibility of an investor. This is basically my system where we ideate in one bucket, and then we have a sort of research stack to do deeper research. I'll have a few demos that I'll show you. And if you want to scan it, you can send a message to my WhatsApp, and I'll give you a free code that'll give you this outlier sort of a service for about a month or so. I'll put this after the talk anyway. In the meantime, let me open a few things. So when you start out investing or trying to understand what's going on in the market, the professional investor, what we usually do is we look at what's been moving, what's not been moving, and what's been moving out of normal situation. We call them as outliers. Usually, if you want to do an outlier sort of an analysis, there are a bunch of calculations that you want to do. You can do it using Cloud Code and these sort of things, but we sell this as a service. So the input for this sort of a template will be supplied by us. But after that, the agent will let you build an entire HTML template of how to view that data. So if you look at this from a JSON file, you get a very detailed HTML template that the agent has built. You can use a Cloud Code or anything to build this about how to look at a theme. So just to take a moment to explain this. Now this is about how the Hong Kong stocks have performed and are there any outliers in the Hong Kong market over the past 90 days. Now, when I was scrolling through these things, I spotted that there is a particular exposure theme called the surgical robots, which had underperformed the market quite significantly. It's very difficult to go down and understand these things, but with an interface like this, you can quickly get into, hey, look, this is where probably an outlier is there, and probably I should look into those things. And from here, you're basically seeing that, look, this theme has underperformed the market quite massively. And there is also a flow momentum statistic, which sort of indicates that it's not the worst, but it's still not in the greens. And some more details on which particular stocks have actually either outperformed or underperformed. Now, this is linked to Google Finance, which I think is a very fabulous tool these days for doing individual stock research. So this template is directly connected to Google Finance. I can just click it and it takes me to the Google Finance page with competitors and whatnot. So this is the sort of sophisticated tooling where you can just take an outlier sort of an analysis that is provided by any provider and go all the way into understanding the trends of what has performed, what has not performed, and probably you'll find some investment ideas over there. Now, once you find out a space that you're interested in, let us say I'm interested in this space and I want to dig deeper. This Microport Scientific stock has not performed that well, but let me quickly understand why it has not performed that well. The easiest thing one will do right now is go to a Perplexity or a Google Finance and then just type it in the query saying that, hey, this stock has not performed. Tell me the fundamental drivers, what has happened. And, maybe it's temporary, maybe it's got some earnings downgrades and stuff like that. It will throw a bunch of text at you. And 6 months down the line, you will lose complete track of what research or what you have done in the past. Now, this is why you need to be using some sort of an agent. Now, I don't even use Cloud Code. I'm just using an old school VS Code or a cursor and still be able to do much of this sort of analysis. And that's what I'm saying, that you don't have to use the Cloud Code or the paid version. Any agent will do to store your memories and do these sort of research. I have a skill that I've written for doing news analysis. Trying to go to the skill window. Yeah. So skills are not small. Skills are actually quite detailed stuff that one has to do. But what I want to showcase here is this is my research stack. You don't have to learn or buy any tool. The same sort of research stack, if you can replicate within your agents, it'll work. It'll work as good as it works for any professional investor. So if I go to my research stack, I have a place where I store my research, which is what I'm thinking right now, what I want to do. And there is a place where I have a wiki. The wiki is basically what is popular these days, where you dump something in the sources and the agent will pick it up and categorize into topics and build your own wiki for that particular stock. So after a lot of trial and error, what I figured out is this is the sort of research stack that closely replicates how an analyst would think. Once you have this research stack, it's still very text-based. Then you need to ask the LLM or the agent to build a few visualization tools for you that will help you visualize what's going on over here. One of the tools that I've asked today morning for the agent to build is to build a visualization for my news research. And it had built a visualization for my news research. And this is what it looked like. Yeah. So I was trying to analyze Medbot and what has happened over there, try to see if it's a temporary thing or if there is a fundamental issue with the company. There is a skill which I will, there's a GitHub repo which I will give you access to. The GitHub repo will have a skill that will let your agent use Google News to do deep research. You do not need a Perplexity deep research or a Claude Code deep research or any of these agents. It's a small scale that will use Google News through your own browser, so no cost involved in this, and build a detailed research JSON file for that day whenever you run this query. And the output of that detailed JSON file will be an interactive dashboard like this. You can build this yourself. There is a skill in the GitHub repo. There is already a built code for that. Now, this tells me a few details about this stock, where earlier I saw that the space has underperformed massively, minus 18% versus Hong Kong market returns of plus 2%. Whereas if I look at the news flow, there is really nothing negative over here. There are a bunch of analyst upgrades, analysts racing to upgrade according to this, and then there are a bunch of fundamentally positive news. And this is where I start my secondary research of downloading the presentations, downloading the transcripts, building the Excel model like how Jason has built, and so on and so forth. So this is basically the research stack that I work with. So my research process has three phases. The first phase is ideation, where the key tool has become the outlier tool for me, where I'm every day monitoring outliers on a 90-day, 30-day, 1 year basis. And this is a feed that is available for subscription. If you want to get an outlier, don't have to do it yourself, just take the feed and you get it. And a visualization of the outlier that helps me quickly scan through probably the areas that I should focus on so that I can focus my attention on exactly the right themes. And then if I want to dig deeper into those themes, do a news research, visualize it, and then go into the fundamental investor workflow. Yeah, so let me put this code up here so you can scan and I can give you the link to the GitHub repo and the API.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I suppose doing this kind of scan, you will get many ideas each day. Have you tried to backtest all these ideas?
Yeah, so yeah, so again, unlike a trading tool, this is a fundamental tool. So there is a lot of subjectivity sort of involved. The idea over here is you will hopefully refine the way you invest. Backtesting here is really easy. What we're doing is, if I look at the exposure themes, that's sort of what I give out. So every stock is classified as belonging to one of the 600 themes. And these themes are SUV or luxury goods and stuff like that. It will usually throw up about 20 to 30 themes that fall into these outliers. Maybe you'll focus on 5 or 6 just because of your own familiarity with that, right? And when you backtest, again, you ask the agent to backtest on a 1 year or a 3 year basis. Now, it's not a quant tool for you to obviously buy the top 20% bucket and then short the bottom 20% bucket. But what I've seen is, if you look at some of the major underperformers of last year, all these semiconductor stocks like Intel that have gone up, they were like screaming green. Like semiconductor stocks that are clear outliers that have not been touched. Intel was a classic example that came out of one of these screeners where every semiconductor stock was up 300% and Intel was flat or down 15% for about a 3 year period. So when Nasdaq doubled 22 to 24 or something, Intel sort of went down. So these are sort of outliers that come out very clearly in these sort of scans.
So basically, if I can summarize it in my own words, it helps you to find the potential candidate for new version or the like sector laggards.
Yeah. So I would say theme laggards. The problem with sector is it's a deep problem. If you look at the normal sector classification, the buckets are very wide. Right? The internet bucket would have a food delivery guy, an Amazon sort of a player. It's very wide. So you need to go a little deeper. So that is where the themes comes in. So if you look at even the base classification of sectors, there are less than 100 sectors in the world. And you have to go deeper than that. So first level is you have to invest your time and create those themes so that you can be granular in finding these outliers. Otherwise, it won't work. Any other questions? Great. Thank you.
Did you make money?
Wait, I did that for a living, so.